Hello, it's Dean Bostic, and welcome to my television show, Charities. For those of you that haven't seen my show, I increase awareness about local nonprofits, charities, fundraisers, causes, and yeah, welcome everyone today. And today we have Mr. Joel Adamson.
Yes.
Really good to have you. I know you
Thank
stay
you.
busy, but thank you so much for making time to come and talk to us.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. So tell us a bit about Homes of Compassion.
Well, Kitsap Homes of Compassion is a nonprofit organization with its goal of eliminating homelessness in Kitsap County. And we do that by creating permanent housing for those that need affordable housing in Kitsap County.
Okay. So do you consider that like your like your mission statement in a ballpark?
Yes, yeah. Our mission statement is to provide housing, permanent housing for homeless in Kitsap County. And it's not temporary housing, it's not transitional housing. We want to provide permanent housing there's no limit as long a person can stay in the housing, and so for them to be successful in their life.
Man, that is cool. That's such a great platform. So if I've asked you to give me an outline, because you have a lot of points that we want to, get to, not through because you totally take your time, but that we're going to want to get to, and just kind of tell us a bit about it, how it works, because you know this like the back of your hand. So really appreciate again you coming. So kind of how did you get involved in helping the homeless from being an engineer for, what, 15, 20 years?
Yes, yeah, I've been an engineer and a licensed professional engineer, and I worked overseas with ExxonMobil as an engineer and a project manager. But when I was overseas working as an engineer, I became sick and with ankylosing spondylitis. It's an autoimmune disease that it affects the spine, and it causes great disability of energy level. And so I wasn't able to work anymore, and I was even bedridden about 8 years ago. That I was on my back. I didn't have enough energy to even walk from my condo to the parking lot. Oh, wow. So I had to be pushed in a wheelchair. And so that situation of being disabled, severely disabled, made me reconsider. I had never had anything in my life, anything like this before. And then I started reading about the homeless problem in Kitsap County. We're living here in Bremerton, and got involved with my kids with the Kitsap Rescue Mission and other organizations that were helping the homeless. And I discovered that a lot of the homeless were dealing with various disabilities, and from having my own physical disability too, made me realize that something needed to be done to help the situation.
Wow, you're doing such a great job. And I want to do the high five. I'll give you a handshake, because this is more of a serious type of, of matter. So, so tell us a bit about how the program works, and how do you find the homes that you.
Yeah, the program works is that we started our nonprofit 3 years ago, and in the beginning we were looking at the possibility of building housing, tiny homes that were completely furnished, completely met all the building codes of a home, but they were small, like you might see on TV today for modern tiny homes.
Yeah.
And actually, we built 3 tiny homes. We built the first tiny home in Kitsap County on a concrete foundation that met all the building codes. in the Island Lake area. But the problem is the cost. It turned out the cost of construction, labor, and material is so high that building tiny home villages that were for permanent housing would be very expensive. To be able to make it so that to be sustainable, they'd have to be at a price that they could afford to pay with their Social Security on a monthly basis. So then we looked into the possibility of renting housing, leasing housing.
It's a good idea.
So that's what we decided to do. A year ago we started in September of 2018. We leased our first house, a 4-bedroom house, and it was for women who were homeless or about to become homeless, and for senior women. And so it houses the master bedroom was shared, and the 3 bedrooms were single occupancy, and then they share the living room and kitchen. And so that's the basic premise of how our program works is on shared housing. Similar to like a boarding house or a rooming house. But in addition to that, providing affordable housing, we also provide support. We have house managers that meet, like case managers meet once a week or twice a month with the residents of the house to work through any issues, to make sure the function of the house is being taken care of, to make sure that the house is being maintained, that the residents are maintaining the house, and also if there's any disagreements, to act as a third party to help the residents be able to discuss things and to make sure that it goes smoothly in the house.
Oh man, that is beautiful. So how do you find your homes?
Well, we find homes online just by renting them from Zillow or Craigslist, just on the homes that people have put up for lease. They're looking for a long-term lease for, and yeah.
Man, that is so wow. I bet does it take a lot of work, or do you find people are more willing to help the cause, or is it?
Yeah, in the beginning it was difficult to find people willing to lease us homes because they were, concerned or maybe skeptical how it was going to work. But now that we have a track record. Every month we've added additional home, so we've grown from 1 house to now 11 houses.
Whoa.
And so we've housed over 50 people, and
excuse me 1 second. Thank you, because there is a huge homeless problem here in Kitsap County. So sorry for interrupting, but that is beautiful work.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. No problem. And it's a collaborative effort with other organizations and agencies, government agencies, and nonprofits. Like we work with KCR, Kitsap Community Resources. They do initial screening of the individuals at their Housing Solutions Center, and so then they have the individuals fill out our application. So if someone was interested in our housing, that's where they would go to a KCR office, and then they would scan the application and email it to Kitsap Homes of Compassion. We also get referrals from DSHS, KMH, Kitsap Rescue Mission, and so, but they generally all go through the Housing Solutions Center. But it's a collaborative effort in that some of the residents need additional, some have physical disabilities, they need someone to help them, and DSHS sometimes provides in-home care for those that have have physical disabilities. In Kitsap Connect is another organization that we partner with that provides support for individuals that are living in the homes that need that support. So we take care of the housing piece of it, and then these other agencies provide more detailed support and case management for the individuals.
But you get them there, and then they kind of funnel down into a home. Or most, or
when we provide them a room, they have their own key to their own bedroom, so they can lock their door, they can store their possessions at the house, they have a key to the house, and so they're in a house, they're in a permanent house. These are fully functional single-family homes in nice neighborhoods in Kitsap and central Kitsap and Bremerton, and in the city of Holsbo, and so yeah, we are providing this service to create affordable housing because there's a lack of affordable housing right now in Kitsap County.
Man, yeah, we should do some fundraisers about that. So ballpark, I see it getting bigger every day, but just a ballpark, how many people do you think are homeless in Kitsap County? 'Cause I'm seeing more and more every day, so.
Yes. Kitsap County has done studies. They do, there's the Kitsap County Department of Human Services and the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition. They have done each year, they do accounts. And then from these counts, they have ways to extrapolate because not everybody wants to be counted. And then the homeless, there's different categories. There are unsheltered homeless or outdoor homeless, they would call them. And then there's indoor or sheltered homeless. That would be people who are couch surfing, but they're homeless, but they're not actually outside on the street. So the unsheltered are a lot are sleeping in their cars if they have a car, and then they have those that are sleeping in tents in the forest, or they're sleeping at rescue missions temporary shelters that are not designed to be permanent housing. They're in shelters where they have to come in. They can come in the morning. And they eat late at night. They can stay there at night, but then early in the morning they have to leave the shelter. So that are the unsheltered. Now, of that category, the unsheltered homeless, they estimate there's around 1,000 in Kitsap County. Now, we don't know the exact numbers. It might be between 800 and 1,200, but that is a lot of individuals.
Yes, it is a lot.
And then if you think of it, that these are individuals that have physical disabilities and other disabilities. Some have mental disabilities, some have developmental disabilities. And so these are people who are in really need of assistance. They're in really need of affordable housing. Because a lot of them get SSDI or SSI because of their disability, they have some income, but their income is usually insufficient. They might have 750 disability income or 850, but that's not enough money to rent an apartment.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's why we need to create housing that they can afford on their disability income check. Because most of them are not able to work full-time. Now, some of them are able to work part-time, but it's hard to get a part-time job when you're in a homeless situation.
Yeah.
Once you're stabilized, then it's easier to apply for a job. And we have a program to try to help individuals in our homes get part-time employment. But back to your question of how many there are. So the outside or unsheltered homeless, we estimate 800 to 1,200. Then for the other category of sheltered homeless or couch surfing, they estimate 3,000 to 5,000 range. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a break for a minute or two because we still have a lot of really important information. And this guy right here is the man. He's trying to help get people off the street, and beautiful cause, great fundraiser material, and we'll talk more about that when we come back. Thank you again, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dean.
Okay, thanks again. Be right back. And welcome back to my television show, Charities. For the few of you that missed my first half, I'm Dean Bostic from Charities, Fundraisers and Causes. And again, we help out local charities, nonprofits, and fundraisers. Let more people know about what they do. And today we have a very important, as always, important guest is going to give us more information about what he does. And I've got some questions that he wants to make sure people know about. I've actually Joel to write some questions down, so I know where to stick, where to stay, and we can get as much out. And hopefully, yeah, you can come back next weekend and give us some more. So we'll pick back up where we left off. So why are the homeless, without a place to live. I mean, what do you think made them go to this direction?
Well, Dean, I think that's a good question, and that's an important question, a fundamental question, because to have an answer, come up with a solution, you have to correctly diagnose the problem, just like a doctor has to first know what the proper diagnosis is. And so the answer to that is twofold. One is with affordable housing, because a lack of affordable housing, because a lot of the homeless actually have income, but the income is not sufficient for the housing. So if we had more housing that they could afford, then they wouldn't be homeless anymore.
Yeah.
So that is part of the problem. Now I have a graph here that I want to show that shows how rents have grown, and this is as homelessness increases. And as you're seeing this graph on your screen here, you can see between 2010 and 2017, the median wages, and it shows the number of the red line is the per capita unsheltered homeless, how it dramatically went up as the rent on the chart on the left is how much the rent costs. As rent went up, homelessness went up in direct proportion. And the blue line is the median rent, and the red dots are homelessness. So there's a direct correlation. As rents went up, homelessness increased.
Maybe crime too, because people have been more desperate if they don't have.
Yeah, I don't have a graph of the crime with that, but and the people the individuals that are living in our homes, we do background checks, and the vast majority of the people have no criminal record whatsoever.
Right.
The reason that they're homeless is because their income, because they're on disability, because they have some disability, physical or other disability, and their income, disability income, is insufficient to be able to rent. There's no affordable apartment or place to rent. Now there used to be, and in future talks together, we can talk about the history. Why are rents so expensive today? Yeah. Why has the rents increased so dramatically as compared to people's income in the United States and in Kitsap County? There are answers to this question, but we can go into the details in this a little bit later on. The second graph I'd like to show is rents increasing while income growth lags. And on this graph it shows from 2006 to 2016 where the people's incomes have the lines in yellow and green have not been increasing, but the rent has increased 30% between 2006 and 2016. So this shows that the issues that we're dealing with here is, and people's Social Security has not been increasing with the way rents have been increasing. Over the last 15 years in Kitsap County, rents have doubled, but people's Social Security checks have not doubled in the last 15 years.
Right.
So that results in a larger number of people becoming homeless. Now, the second reason that people are homeless is because there's a portion of the homeless that are homeless because of a disability that affects their ability to be housed, and that is if they have a mental health disability that makes it more difficult for them to, that a lot of people don't want to talk about mental health, but mental health is just, your mental health is something, it's just the functioning of a person's brain, and just like I shouldn't touch there, but it just as you have a heart, and cardiovascular, any organ in your body could have difficulties. A person's brain can have diseases and difficulties too. And so we want to remove stigma associated with it so people can talk openly about it and be able to get help and treatment for it, because you know, sometimes I wear glasses for distance, but no one questions, oh, why are you wearing glasses, or what's wrong with you because you're wearing glasses. Of course I can't work harder to make my eyes work better. So Similarly, we should not think of mental health as something that, a person can just, I just want to have my mental health be perfect, and so we need to have compassion on people who have disabilities, either physical disabilities or mental disabilities. Sometimes people get in a car accident and then they have a brain injury, and that affects their capacity to be able to work. And so this issue of mental health affects all walks of society. It doesn't matter if we have lawyers and doctors that live in some of our homes that they've been in car accidents, or they've had mental illness come upon them. It's not a respecter of persons. It happens to everybody in our society of any job, no matter what your job is or your level of education. Anybody can be affected with a disorder that affects your brain. And so we need to have compassion, and we need to address this problem and not sweep it under the rug or just wait for it to think it's going to go away on itself. It's a problem that we can solve if we work together with other organizations and citizens working together and agencies working together, but it's a solvable problem.
And you've done a really good start and continuing to what you do. And I've got to give you, again, sorry for all the handshakes, but really super job on what you're doing. So, let's see, so what motivates you to do this work? Was it your experience you said before overseas?
Yeah, what motivates to do my work, I told you with my health issue, but in addition to the health issue, there's a social justice issue that's going on here, that our society, sometimes a society has an issue and we aren't paying attention to it, and we just get used to the status quo. We had slavery in this country for over 200 years before we finally ended during the Civil War. But why wasn't it ended in the 1840s or 1830s? Why did we allow such an unjust system of slavery to persist year after year? Why in Germany in the 1930s and 40s they were discriminating against the Jewish people, and why didn't people stand up and say, hey, this is not right, someone needs to do something? Well, I think allowing people who are physically or mentally disabled just to be eating out of a garbage can and sleeping on the street, this is unacceptable. In a modern society, this is just completely inhumane. And we have to reevaluate what has gone wrong with our moral compass, that as a society we allow this problem to persist.
Now, do you think, sorry to interrupt, do you think people don't know, or just that people don't care?
That's a good question, Dean, and I think it might be a little bit of both. I think some people do not know, or they have misinformation about what the situation is. A lot of people have myths about homelessness. They think maybe they're all drug addicts. They're not. Most of them are not. They may think they're criminals. They're not. If people have a criminal tendency, they're probably already in our criminal system in the jails and in the prisons. So we have a lot of homeless people that have no criminal record, that have a physical or mental disability that is, and in the society, the problem is with us, why are we not doing more to create affordable housing for them? Why are we not creating more supportive housing? The other part of the housing issue besides affordability is sometimes people need, in addition to just being affordable, inexpensive housing, they need somebody to come alongside them and help them along the way. That's what supportive housing is, where you have a caseworker, a case manager that meets with them regularly and helps them be successful in life. And this is a humanitarian crisis of unbelievable proportions. There's natural disasters going on around the world, and you can find people in need, but we have people in need right here in our own city, in our own community, and we need to take a stand with these individuals to make a change. I want to quote Dieter Bonhoeffer, who worked in Germany during World War II, and he was taking a stand to help the Jewish people during that time while they were being persecuted, and he said to remain silent is in the face of evil, to remain silent is itself evil. Not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act. So we must act, we must speak, and we must take a stand that status quo is not working. There is something not working in our system that allows these disabled individuals to remain on the streets. And we know what needs to be done. Do we have the will to do it? It doesn't take that much money. It just takes allocating and they already have over $200 billion a year in the United States is spent on the mental health system. And so it's a matter of leadership, in taking leadership, that we are going to end this problem by creating affordable housing and creating supportive housing for those that need the support. And there are many cities in the United States that have, they've ended their chronic homeless problem. And so we just need to have the leadership to end it.
Man, beautiful. Thanks to you, we're getting that. So besides creating affordable housing, what other services does Kitsap Homes of Compassion? I know you touched on it a bit before, but give me some more of what Kitsap Homes of Compassion does.
Yes, we have 5 programs, Kitsap Homes of Compassion, that we operate. Our main program is for senior citizens or mature adults, 40 to 55 and older. But we also have a program for homeless mothers with children. And we have a house in the city of Poulsbo, and the city of Poulsbo has given us great support from the mayor there. And so it's, again, we create a shared housing. We have a 5-bedroom house, and we have 5 mothers, each with a child, that were homeless, didn't have a place, and so they're now living in this house, and it's working great. The 3rd program is for U.S. veterans. We're in the process of creating a house for men veterans that are homeless and another house for women veterans that are homeless. They've risked their life to protect our freedom. We need to help them out in their time of need. And the 3rd program we have is with Olympic College students. We just started this week. Last week we have the lease. We've started a house for homeless Olympic College students. There's over 100 college students that are homeless at Olympic College, and so we've created a house for men college students, and we're partnering with Coffee Oasis that are providing the management of the house and the case management, meeting with the individuals regularly. And so we're just now this week going to be moving in 4 men who are Olympic College students into that house, and that house will have 8 college students living in that house. It's a large house, 5-bedroom house. And then the 5th is houses for Kitsap immigrant families. Immigrants come to our country from Central America because of dangers and difficulties, and so these individuals are hardworking people, but they just don't have the documentation to be able to rent a house. So Kitsap Homes of Compassion's partnered with KCR to be able to provide the housing piece for these families while they're getting their documents, their official documents in order, and so that they have a place to live.
Oh man, that is so great. Let me ask you, we don't have a lot of time, but will you please be able to come back hopefully next week if you could find a little bit of time in your
I would
schedule?
love to, Dean, yes.
Yeah, we could pick up where we left off, because we still have a lot of great information from Joel, and there's still a lot going on, a lot that people need to hear. That it's not that everybody doesn't care, but a lot of people, like Joe said, don't know. So that's what my show is about letting them know. So we will wrap up for today. I want to thank you again. And,
thank you.
Hopefully next week I will see you again, and we can pick up where we left off and educate more of Kitsap County and our viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. And again.